So, first and foremost, what's lucid dreaming? Lucid dreaming is that you realize that you're dreaming whilst you're dreaming. When you realize that, you kind of become more conscious, and then you can kind of control things. You instead of just following your dream, you can direct the dream. You can, for example, you can fly or spit fire or stuff like that. Sounds pretty exciting, right? Now, why should you try and lucid dream? Of course, if you have your own reason, but just why I, at least, want to lucid dream. I want to lucid dream because it just first and foremost sounds pretty fun. You can experience things you were not able to experience before. You are able to spit fire, for example, right? Like fly. You're able to even teleport, even switch to a different animal, which I haven't done that much. That's why I'm making a video about it. I'm just taking my plan with the little experience I had. I have had 3 lucid dreams before, very, very short ones. But they were amazing, to be fair. Once I flied, but I went on the train I flight, but it, like for 2 seconds, and then I was out of it, and but it's pretty damn fun. No, it's not because they were like a couple of seconds. It just felt pretty weird and pretty interesting. Like a feeling you haven't ever experienced, right? Um, Now you can have fun. You can experience things. You can climb mountains. You can even study. No, that doesn't mean maybe that doesn't sound that fun to you, but you can do all sorts of things. You can basically do whatever you want in a dream, whatever, except learning new things. But you can actually, but for the more advanced guys that are not only seeking fun, you can talk to parts of yourself, or you can reason to parts of yourself that you haven't been able to, like your subconscious. You can. Um, I don't know because I haven't done it. I have no proof, but I think because I've heard it that you can talk to stuff like your shadow self, or like your subconscious, if you don't know what that is. Yeah, it's a little bit different, but I haven't searched that much about the shadow self and stuff like that. But you can talk to like your true self, right? You can because you can do whatever you want. You can summon things. You can summon like Darth Vader, but you can also summon yourself, or like your subconscious, right? You can summon those things, and you can talk to them. You can have conversations with them. Of course, that's not that easy, like every skill, but I think it's a nice skill to learn, because you can, if you like play an instrument, you can practice the instrument, and things like that. But enough about why I want to lucid dream. But now, to the technique I have been doing for 1 day now. So I call it a mixture of the Hild, which isn't a technique actually. I just invented it. Like no, I haven't. Like I heard somewhere, but I didn't call it a technique, because it isn't really a technique. But I want to give it some name. Um. So I have had 2 lucid dreams a year before, and one a couple of months before, but I just quit it. I just quit it because I just gave up, and it wasn't that fun. Like I had one for 5 seconds in like a month, right? But the technique I'm going to introduce you to is, I call it the habit-induced lucid dreaming. Lucid dreaming. Yeah, like about every technique ends with ELD, from induced lucid dreaming, right? Like the wild, the right, stuff like that. So I call it the habit-induced lucid dreaming. Now, what do you do in the technique? Because the name doesn't really matter. It's about the habit part. So basically, every time you want to create a habit of checking if you are asleep. You can call it reality checks. That's what everyone calls it. But I'm making an actual technique. No, I'm not. I just have inspiration from someone else, and I thought it was very useful to share with you guys. So every time when you wake up, even in the middle of the night, you just look around, right? You get to look around, like, oh, okay, yeah, I'm kind of conscious, and then you do a reality check. A reality check basically is a way to check if you're asleep or not by doing things that maybe differ if you're dreaming. So let's say counting your fingers. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Because in a lot of dreams, you actually have more or less fingers, or even not the same amount of fingers in both hands. But sometimes you do have, so you gotta have multiple reality checks, right? One I also like is the finger push through palm technique, or reality check. You just try to push your finger through your palm, and it obviously doesn't work. But if you're dreaming and you really right, you can actually push that finger through your hand, because you're dreaming and you can basically do whatever the heck you want. There are no physics involved. Now, the last one, you can search up a lot, different reality checks and stuff. The last one is just trying to breathe through your nose when you pinch your nose, right, like this. And of course you can't do that, but if you were dreaming, you could, because you're dreaming, right? Physics do not really apply there. You can fly, you can spit fire, right? You can have battles with Darth Vader. You can do whatever you want. You can hug Yoda. I don't know if you want that, but you could. Then you do that once you wake up. And you're right. Every time you wake up, you're really checking your reality. You're really checking if you are indeed asleep or not. And then throughout the day, now actually, if you, the best you could do is meditate, pretty soon after you wake up. I do it about a half hour or so after I wake up, because I first want to eat and drink and that stuff, and then I just do my meditation. But you can do it right after you wake up, or maybe a little sooner, or I wouldn't say that much later than me though, but you figure it out for yourself, right? And then throughout the day, you were trying to do quite a lot of reality checks. I would say 20, or just you do a reality check every time you think about doing reality check, right? So like into it, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, right? Your finger, right? Every time you think about doing reality checks, do one. Just do one. So every time you think about questioning your reality, right? So then you're doing that throughout the day, and then once you're trying to go to sleep, the last thing you do is you look around, right? You make yourself very conscious of that you are in this room, you're in this bed, right? And then you do, last thing before you go to sleep, you do a reality check. Or two, right? Depends on what, you know. And then you go to sleep, and boom. Now, I'd like to add some more things, because this really only is doing reality checks. So adding some more things to it is, first of all, dream journaling. I know it's not that easy. No, or like it's like too easy and you're like, why should I, right? I know that. I've done it for like a month or so, really. But then I just was like, no results, right? Like, so I mean, like, I was only really doing meditation, the mild technique, which I'm gonna discuss today, and doing dream journaling. But reality checks weren't that much involved, and I think reality checks is a very big part of it. But if you can remember your dreams, you can remember your lucid dream, right? So I have done this this night. I've done that, and I've actually remembered two dreams. One about a museum, going to a museum, and one about a zoo in my garden, which is pretty interesting. Which was pretty interesting, right? And I also remembered something about my vegetables that I'm growing, right? But I didn't really remember it that much. Like I kind of thought I had one, so it didn't really count. I didn't write it down. But so you just do that every time you wake up. You're like, okay, wait, have I dreamed? Have I dreamt? Just like every time you wake up in the middle of the night, or when you wake up, be like, okay, am I awake? Yes, I am awake. I'm very awake. I'm very, very awake, right? Yeah, I am. And then you're like, okay, what have I dreamt? What have I dreamt, right? And you write it down. You do a little light on. You write it down on a little pad, on a little piece of paper, and then you just go to sleep. But actually, I like to add the wake back to bed technique to it. Not the sleep interrupting wake back to bed technique. Because the wake back to bed technique actually is like, okay, you set an alarm 5 hours after you go to sleep, alarm goes off, you do some weird ritual stuff, and for like 10 minutes or 20 minutes or so, and then you go to sleep. I like to make it a little bit easier for yourself, because that is just like, you interrupt your sleep, you're doing weird rituals, right? But it's it's more like meditation kind of vibes, but I would like to do it a little different, a little bit easier. And actually probably even more effective. No, not more effective, but like more effective for the amount of ease it is, for how easy it is. What you basically do is you wake up, you write your dream down, and like when you wake up, you're like, oh, am I actually in the reality? And you're like, okay, what time is it? Because I have a clock, maybe you don't have a clock. I guess buy one or something like that. I don't know. You check the time. I wouldn't recommend doing it on your phone, because all of that light. But yeah, done. Right? You check your timer. I'm like, okay, write your dream time and be a little bit awake, like 10 minutes, maybe 5 minutes, depending on what you like. I like 10 to 15 minutes at the moment, but only for one night. And then you're like, and then when you go to sleep, you remember your previous dream you had that you write it down that time, and then you're like, okay, but in the memory, you actually become lucid and do the actual fun stuff, but you're just doing it in your mind, and then you fall to sleep, and then the cycle begins, right? I hope this is enough for you to start doing this. I'm going to record my progress, so I'll probably see you pretty soon. Thanks for watching, and remember guys, keep learning.